Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. In today's episode, we're covering a variety of different headlines with you, all the way from yesterday's White House press briefing, where Peter Doocy questioned Karine Jean-Pierre on illegal immigration, and Joe Biden's dog biting more White House staffers, which makes this like the 12th or 13th time something like this has happened. And we have another reporter questioning her on funding going to Ukraine, but why not the border? And DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is now flailing his arms, asking for immediate action to take place at the border because things have gotten so bad. Let that one sink in. And lastly, Donald Trump might be the next Speaker of the House. All that and more here on today's episode of the Bald Brad Show. Before we jump into any of it, as always, support a true American patriot by hitting that like and subscribe button. Leave us a short, sweet comment down below. The question of the day is, do you think Donald Trump is going to be the next Speaker of the House? Let us know in the comment section below. And also, share this video with your friends and family all over social media. It helps us get our videos out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. So you sharing this link does yeoman's work in supporting the show. And if you want to go above and beyond, we're in Biden's economy. We're teetering on the border of a major recession. We would love your hard-earned money to go to the Bald Brad Show, a conservative that wants to share your thoughts and ideas out there to the world. The join tab's right here. We got an awesome community of patriots, folks. We'd love for you to join us. Hit that join tab. Become a true American patriot today. With that being said, we got yesterday's White House press briefing, where Peter Doocy, the gladiator, gets off a lot of questions with Karine Jean-Pierre here. Like I said, ranging from illegal immigration to the border to Ukraine to Joe Biden's dog biting more people. We're going to get into it right now. Let's roll it.
Thank you. The governor of Illinois has written to President Biden to say the federal government's lack of intervention and coordination at the border has created an untenable situation for Illinois. Does anybody outside of the White House think the immigration policy is working?
So here's what I can tell you. I just mentioned that the president requested $4 billion for supplemental funding to address what we're seeing at the border, right? And to manage what is happening currently at the southwest border more specifically. And
Folks, this would be exciting if all this money was solving the problem. Like if Donald Trump was in office, we could have built the border wall with $4 billion. All of a sudden, he's just like, give me $4 billion and I'm not going to do anything about fixing the border wall. That's why this is crazy.
Republicans continue to block us. They do. They continue to block us. And without Congress, the president has taken action. He's taken action, whether it is surging resources to the border. We have removed and returned more than 250,000 people since May 12th, and working with partners and countries across the region to actually deal with this issue.
You want to know how disgusting this is, you guys? Yeah, there's resources that are actually going to the border to help alleviate the problem that's going on. But when she says resources, she's being very crafty here in her messaging. These resources are blankets, food, baby formula. Remember when there's a shortage of baby formula and people that aren't U.S. citizens of this country were getting the formula over actual U.S. citizens? Yeah, that's the idea that's going on here with resources. The other resources that are going here is more helicopters, buses, all that stuff to fly more illegal immigrants into the interior of the country. So that's the messaging that's going on here. But because people don't know about all this stuff, she's going to play off their ignorance and capitalize on this moment and blame Republicans for the Democrats' doing of this entire mess.
So the president has continued to try to put forth actions and ways to deal with what we're seeing at the border, and Republicans continue to block us. I just mentioned moments ago, like 2 weeks ago, they put forth a CR that would take away law enforcement at the border.
Different topic. There are some new pictures of Commander Biden biting a staffer again. How many times has that dog bitten the Bidens?
I would refer you to the Secret Service and also the First Lady's office.
Okay. It's the 12th known incident of this dog biting a White House staffer. A lot of times when that happens, there's a lawsuit. Isn't the president worried about getting sued?
Not just a lawsuit. I mean, a lot of dogs would have been put down, depending on the severity of the incident or the bite, after like the first time. This happened 12 times. Yo, it's time to either get that dog whisperer in there, Chavez or whatever the name that dude was that was on like TV, like TLC or whatever, that like speaks to the animals, or get rid of the damn thing. Because at the end of the day, it's going to cost you and I money because we're going to have to pay from the taxpayers for the litigation and the lawsuit and all this stuff, or the settlement.
I would refer you to the Secret Service or the First Lady's office.
My last one. Is any part of the West Wing here just loving the fact that Republicans don't appear to be able to govern the one part of the government that they actually control?
Nobody's loving anything when we're not able to deliver for the American people. Nobody's loving that. When it is important for Congress to work, not for us, but on behalf of the American people. It is important to make sure that we meet the challenges of the American people. That's what's important. What we saw, and you heard from the president, what we saw on Saturday should have never have happened. We're glad that a deal was made. We're glad that we're not in a shutdown, but House Republicans should have never gotten us that far. And so,
you guys, the reason why I'm having these facial reactions is because she's talking about how Congress is supposed to basically work on behalf of the American people. But at the same time, she's going to be boastful and has been boastful for quite some time, because that's the only time that a government shutdown was illuminating over the American people or kind of hovering over them. And so she's always like, well, just increase the debt limit. Just spend more money that we don't have. That's the government's job. They need to keep it open. So you can't say that these people are supposed to work on behalf of the American people, all the while they're driving us to $34 trillion into debt. Can you fathom paying that back? Just to give you an example, you guys, and this is actually a real number. If for some reason this is not going to happen, but if we got called on our debt, say tomorrow, you owe individually $255,000 to the federal government alone. I don't think the majority of Americans have $255,000 individually laying around the house, meaning you and your spouse are going to owe over $500,000 to the federal government in taxes because of the spending that's been going on here. It is insane, but this is the messaging. Let's just increase the debt more, the deficit. Screw everybody that's going to have to pay at the end of the day, because that's government's job to speak on your behalf and act upon or act on your behalf. It's insane. It's so wild. This is scary stuff, man. I can't believe we're almost $34 trillion in debt. You can't even fathom that number. I can't.
they are the majority in the House. They can fix this. They're creating the chaos. That is not helpful to the American people. That's why you saw the president today talk about student debt relief and talk about what else he's doing to make sure that we're giving a little bit of breathing room to the American people. That's why you heard from the president yesterday talking about, or our announcement, talking about how we're continuing to beat Big Pharma so we can lower prescription drug costs for the American people. That's what the president cares about. That's what he wants to see. What can we continue to do to help Americans as they face really tough challenges? So this is not, we're not loving it. It is not helpful to any American across the country.
In any of the meetings about this in the last 24 hours, has anybody in the West Wing heard anybody talking about the possibility of Speaker Trump?
This is something for House Republicans to figure out. This is something for them to fix. We're not going to get involved in the speakership. We don't care who is in the race or who is out the race. That is not for us to figure out. The president doesn't have a vote. No one here has a vote. They have to figure this out. Okay, Peter.
Come on, they don't care about who's having the role of being Speaker of the House. Yeah, you do. You would lose your ish if Donald Trump stepped in there. What's up, bitches? You think you get rid of me? I don't think so. Screw you, illhead. All the people in the back, the fake news media. Donald Trump, 45 is here. You're good. Screw you. You suck. I like you. You're cool. Like, that's exactly what would happen if that dude rolled in. That carrot top in the White House, Karine, she's sick. Oh, she is gross. So, come on, like they don't care. Shouldn't answer the question. So that leads me to believe that there are people in the White House that are a little worried about Donald Trump being Speaker. But another question comes out here where a reporter asks, hey, part of the package in Congress would be not only will we send funding to Ukraine, but we would also send funding to the border. Are you for that? This is her response.
I'm going to go ahead, John, you're the last one.
Thank you very much, Karine. Some House Republicans have raised this idea of linkage, the idea that they would support another round of funding for Ukraine, but only if there's additional funding for border security at our southern border. What would be problematic with that particular idea? After all, it is divided government, and you do need to have some sort of compromise with divided government.
I literally just answered this question about 10 minutes ago, so I'll say this. When it comes to the border, the president has provided record amount of support of funding to deal with the border. And Republicans do the opposite. They literally put forth a CR 2 weeks ago that would take away funding to have law enforcement at the border. That's what they put forth. That's what they continue to do. And so, you know, the president is going to continue to do everything that he can to deal with what's going on at the border. He asked for $4 billion in supplemental funding, and House Republicans want to take away law enforcement at the border. And so you could not have two different ways of moving forward in dealing with the border. And as it relates to Ukraine.
You are damn right on that. You are damn right on that, Karine.
I've said this over and over today. We have seen overwhelming bipartisan support to continue the funding in Ukraine. That has not changed. That still stands. Members in the House and in the Senate, both Republicans and Democrats, have been very public about that, and that's what we want to continue to see. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.
Did you guys see, just look at the size of that binder when she walks out? It's amazing the size of that binder and the lack of answers that any of those reporters get. So that was yesterday's White House press briefing. I only showed 2 clips because the other part of it was a dollar. It was all about Ukraine and sending funding to them. There wasn't much substance there. I want to see stuff about immigration, about the invasion that's taking place. So since she or the reporters didn't really want to get into the nitty-gritty of it all, let's get into the nitty-gritty with DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is citing an acute and immediate need to waive dozens of federal laws in order to build a border wall in South Texas, where illegal immigration and migration has surged. A sharp contrast, you guys, to the dismissals of the use of such barriers in early days of the administration. Somebody stepped on the butterfly again, and now we flipped. Now things are making sense once again. Like just yesterday, the dude's all against the border wall, telling Congress the border's secure, we got it all figured out. And now he's like, we need a border wall for the love of God. It's so bad. 10,000 people a day, millions poured across. I can't handle it. This guy has had his head so far up, you know what, that he hasn't seen daylight in decades. Somebody pulled him out. I don't know who it was, but give them a Medal of Honor. So the agency posted an announcement on the U.S. Federal Register. You guys, can we finish this? Because I'm not even sure if I believe this yet. I mean, it's from Fox News. It is such a stark contrast to what we've heard from this guy that it's too good to be true. I feel like it's satire. Tomorrow's not April, is it? No, it's not April 1st. We're in October, so we're good here. The agency posted an announcement on the U.S. Federal Register, which outlines construction in Starr County in the Rio Grande Valley sector, where the administration says there is high illegal entry. The agency says there has been over 245,000 migrant encounters in the sector just this fiscal year. Folks, if you're on audio, I almost passed out. Mayorkas, the knucklehead, says he is using his authority provided by Congress to waive 26 federal laws, including the Clean Air Act, Safe Drinking Water Act, I'm sorry, and Endangered Species Act. This is real shit. It's real stuff. Oh, God. Oh, can we just... It actually makes sense, and I'll tell you why in just one moment. But hey, let's get rid of the Clean Air Act, Safe Drinking Water Act, and Endangered Species Act so we can build a freaking wall. The reason why this is important is because if you've been a longtime listener of the Bald Brad Show, we've actually talked about the fact that Doug Ducey of Arizona and Greg Abbott of Texas have tried to build makeshift border walls, but the EPA has come in and basically acted on behalf of the Biden administration and told them to remove the barriers that's in the middle of the desert because it was ruining the environment. Yes, you heard that correctly. There's just nothing but dirt out there. No animals, nothing, but it's going to ruin the environment for everybody. You're messing up the air. It's getting icky and dirty. Wild. Quote, there's presently an acute and immediate need to construct physical barriers and roads in the vicinity of the border of the United States in order to prevent unlawful entries into the United States in the project areas pursuant of sections 102A and 102B of the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of 1996. Yes, we've been saying this, dude, for literally years and decades to build a damn border wall. Trump's biggest promise was to build a border wall. I am slightly pissed because, you guys, he didn't finish it, right? The message was a big, beautiful wall to sea to siding sea with a nice, beautiful door, right? That was the message. He delivered partly, and again, I'm not blaming him fully because he's dealing with knucklehead Congress full of Democrats that were pushing him against it. Remember, Nancy Pelosi, I don't want a wall, Trump. I don't want a wall, Donald. I want a fence. And it's like, okay, wall or fence, whatever, lady. Same damn thing. Build it. So he had some pushback. I'm not blaming him for the entire thing, but I want the thing built. The administration had put in a halt to new border wall construction early 2021. And then after candidate Biden had promised there would not be another foot of wall constructed on my administration, the administration said that the wall construction under the Trump administration was just one example of the prior administration's misplaced priorities and failure to manage migration in a safe and orderly and humane way. Yeah. You remember that whole thing? We're not going to build another. Sorry, let me be bited. We're not going to build sugar boat show about pressure. Huh? Where yesterday I had an ice cream sundae. Mr. President, we're talking about border wall. Oh, the chocolate chip ice cream was good. Like, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. But during the administration early on, they didn't want to build a border wall. Building a border wall was racist. It wasn't going to solve anything. Their priorities were misplaced. So he goes, we're not going to build another foot of it. Well, lo and behold, they actually did build some of the border wall under the Biden administration. They just didn't want to tell anybody. Thankfully, we had Peter Doocy in the room going up against either Jen Psaki or Karine Jean-Pierre at the time saying, hey, I thought you weren't going to build another foot of border wall. Didn't you build some? And her answer was, we were just filling in the gaps is all we were doing. We were just filling in the gaps. You were building the border wall, lady. You just don't want to be called racist by your own party. And you probably wouldn't be called racist by your own party because they only like calling Republicans racist when Democrats do the exact same thing. Completely okay. Which I'm for, building the border wall. Pat on the back, Karine, for actually doing your damn job. But here we go. We got DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas supposedly going to help push in a border wall here. I can't wait to see the messaging from the Democrats because that is content for us, you guys, to pull up those old video clips of Trump being a racist, Republicans are xenophobes and racists, and all this other stuff for wanting to build a border wall. If Democrats start building this in the next year and a half or approve it, it just gives us ammo for when Mr. 45, 47 is back in that office good. We're going to build the biggest border wall you've ever seen. Speaking of SpaceX, this sucker's going to space. You're going to need a rocket to get over this. Do you hear me, Nancy? Nancy, are you smiling? I can't tell. Your face is so blistered. It is so blistered. They're going to need a rocket. Kim Jong-un, Rocket Man, couldn't even get over this wall. So I have so much fun with you guys. I love Trump. I'm sorry. I love Trump. I give him an impression because I like him. I adore the man. Okay. Which gets us into our next story. Mr. 45 might be the next Speaker of the House. Calls are mounting, you guys, for House Speaker Donald Trump to be there. So it says here, calls continue to mount for Donald Trump to be nominated as Speaker of the House, as some argue that only the former president could unite divided Republicans. I don't know about that, but God, it would be theatrical. It would be a production to get Donald Trump as the Speaker. You have a representative of Florida telling Fox News on Wednesday that Trump would be the perfect candidate to coalesce Republicans behind common policy objectives after Representative Kevin McCarthy was stripped of the gavel on Tuesday. Now, I didn't give my full-blown take on it. I don't think it was a good look. I don't think it shows a fracture in the Republican Party, and it does give a sense of extremism in the Republican Party, which I don't agree with, by the way, but I can understand from a third-party viewpoint that isn't fully enveloped in politics, probably like you or I, that doesn't watch this stuff all day and read the news every single day, I could see them totally buying into that aspect of people like Matt Gaetz and the other 7 being extreme Republicans because they don't watch all this stuff. They don't know Matt Gaetz. They don't know his policy. So 96% of Republicans voted to keep Kevin McCarthy in. Kevin McCarthy, you guys should have stayed in. We don't need this crap right now. This is theatrics. We don't need, because it's the first time it's ever happened in history. He didn't do that bad of a job. Let's be honest. There's been worse people that have sat in that speakership, like Boehner or whatever the hell the guy's name was. So I'm not fully in on this. I've always said since Trump went down that escalator, one of the main reasons early on why I voted for Trump, yeah, because I like the guy and I like what he said. But also, I was so tired of these politicians and the way that DC was being ran in the swamp that I said, screw it. Let's make chaos. You want to be idiots on Capitol Hill? You want to be idiots in DC? Let's be idiots in. Let's be stupid. So part of me is like, hey, it's theatrics. I personally don't care. Burn the place down. I don't like government. End it down. Just finish it all. Not literally, you know what I mean? Of course not literally, but you understand what I mean. Is that you want to be idiots? Let's act like idiots then. You want to be stupid? Let's be stupid. So Matt Gaetz is acting stupid because everybody else wants to act stupid. You want to spend $34 trillion of our hard-earned money? Let's be stupid then. Let's continue to be idiots. So that's what we're dealing with right now. Well, we need somebody to unite our conference, and I honestly believe that he's the only person that can do that. I don't think he's the only person that can do that. Our next headline is talking about Jim Jordan basically throwing his ring in the hat, and I think that is a phenomenal pick, and that's actually my pick for the next Speaker of the House. Quote, he is the America First agenda. We need the American First agenda to be displayed in the House of Representatives. But why can't a Republican do that? Why does it need to be Donald Trump? That's the problem here. Do you see the fracture in messaging here? Going, well, he's the only Republican that is willing to put America first. That is terrible messaging, you guys. Out of all the representatives of the Republican Party in that House of Representatives, you're going to tell me this is the only guy that could put America first and really exude that value or basically push that value out there to the American people? That's not good messaging at all. So 2 other individuals floated for the speakership are respectable lawmakers who would do a good job, but he said the math may work more in Trump's favor than Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio or Steve Scalise of, I believe, Louisiana. Both are phenomenal picks. I'm leaning more towards Jordan, which goes in my next headline. Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio announced that he is running for Speaker of the House, publishing a letter detailing his proposed focus backed by recent accomplishments. Again, he's my number 1 pick right now. Republican, predominantly focused on the decay of public safety and crime rising across the country. Quote, the American people have entrusted us to lead in the House of Representatives, the congressman began. We should be proud of what we have achieved together in these divided times, but our work is not done. Jordan is the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee and was also the first ever chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, The Hill reported. The caucus includes fellow disruptors such as Representatives Lauren Boebert, Andy Biggs, and Paul Gozer. Far-left progressive policies are destroying our communities. I 100% agree with that. Our security and our future. 100% again agree with that full statement. We have soaring crime across the country in all Democrat-ran areas. We have an administration with open border policies that have caused chaos and left our country vulnerable. Things are so bad as we just saw DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas is now calling for a border wall to be built. That's how bad things are. Quote, the Republican majority must continue to address the issues that matter to the American people. We must address rising crime in major cities and reject soft on crime, pro-criminal policies. We must get our fiscal house in order and reduce spending. We must do our constitutional oversight of the federal bureaucracy, and we must continue working to secure the border and protect our national security. I agree with those things, but he has to also understand it's not necessarily happening in red areas. And if it is, then those representatives need to get their ish in order, as well as the localities that are voting for more funding to go towards police or not police, whatever it may be. But this is happening predominantly in Democrat-ran areas. And you know what? Democrats voted for this stuff. Like us in California, we have Prop 47 in effect, where if you steal anything under $950, then it's basically a misdemeanor. It's a slap on the wrist. Nothing happens to you. So they also wanted to defund the police. If you recall that, they were burning our cities down for literally 4 years. And so they caused this mess, and they should, sleep in their mess. So they want to burn it to the ground. Like I said, you want to be an idiot? Let's be idiots then. You want all this to happen? Let it happen. Let me know if I'm wrong on that. Look, I'm not the one that likes to baby people. If you want to make an idiotic decision, I will tell you the decision you're about to make is very stupid, and this is going to be the consequence of your decision. If you still seek out that decision after you had somebody tell you what was going to happen, and then thus said thing happened of which you were told would happen, then you deserve to reap all the benefits or consequences of said thing. It just so happens they keep shooting themselves in the foot. They're like the guy from Liar Liar, Jim Carrey, that's kicking his own ass all the time and then complaining about it. Somebody beat me up. Yeah, it was you idiot. You did this to yourself. You did it to yourself. And then we're supposed to feel sorry for you? I don't feel sorry for you. The homeless crisis that's going on, you caused it. The drugs that are going on, you caused it. The sex trafficking that's happening that's created a billion-dollar industry, Democrats caused it. I mean, you name it, Democrats have caused it. The recession, Democrats caused it. Democrats and Republicans caused the deficit, but it's predominantly going towards more so a Democrat side of things, of spending bigger government, that whole idea. Throwing billions of dollars to Ukraine, but don't want to protect our own borders. That's Democrats caused it. You have crime-ridden areas, Democrat cities being caused by Democrats. You have smash and grabs, businesses fleeing Democrat-ran cities. Democrat businesses fleeing Democrat cities because of Democrat policy and Democrat rule and Democrat voters. You guys see a common theme here? I think you do. Jordan's policy focused letter later boasted that he has helped deliver immigration enforcement, is conducting oversight, and has been pushing for fiscal discipline his entire career. So good messaging coming out from Jim Jordan. He's my number one pick, but I'm curious, would you like Trump, Jordan, or Scalise? Just my prediction here is it's going to be Jordan. Trump, you guys, I think is out. Look, as fun as it would be, it's not realistic. The guy has indictments up the wazoo. He's literally in court right now. He needs to focus on campaigning, you guys. He needs to keep doing those rallies. He needs to go out there and speak to the American people like he has been doing. He can't be caught up in the speakership. As fun as it would be, trust me, I would love it. Like I said, what's up, bitches? I get it. It would be a ton of fun, but it's not going to happen, you guys. Right now, Trump is very good at marketing and messaging. He's very good at, building it up, going, I might do it. I don't know. 1 foot out and a 1 foot in. It's a 1 foot out. I might be Speaker of the House. He might do it, but he might not. Again, I don't think he's going to. He has his head on straight, you guys. He needs to be out there on the campaign trail. That's where we need him most. I know it feels like we need him in the House to be Speaker, but we don't. You got Jim Jordan, who's a phenomenal pick, as well as Scalise there. So Republicans, they could figure it out. You just got a few knuckleheads in the House of Representatives on the Republican side of the aisle that thought kicking out McCarthy was a good idea. Quite frankly, it wasn't. I know some of you believe it was, but he wasn't terrible, you guys. I would tell you if I thought he was. He wasn't terrible. I don't think it needed to happen. It divided us more. 96% of congressional Republicans in the House of Representatives liked him. So anywho, enough about that. I know I'm repeating myself. Let me know what you think about anything we covered today. Again, the question of the day, you leaving a comment, interacting with the channel does support us greatly, you guys. Just you watching this all the way through without skipping or anything like that and leave us a comment, that's what helps the most. If you want to go above and beyond, meaning you hit the like and subscribe button, you left us a comment down below letting know if you think Trump will be Speaker or not, hit that join tab. We would love your support. We also have baldbrad.com. We got mugs. We got a lot of new subscribers here to the channel. We are growing once again. It seems like YouTube let their foot off the brake just a little bit and allowed our videos to get out to people actually see them. It's amazing. I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here. It's amazing when you could tell that YouTube kind of let off a little bit, because the second that our videos people start seeing, they subscribe. I mean, a lot of you said, oh, you should have a lot of subscribers. I don't necessarily agree with you. I don't think the show's that great. I have a lot of fun doing it. I'm not the best, but hold on one second. I am a little bit under the weather. But it's just amazing to me that when people actually see my videos, they subscribe. You know what I mean? They actually subscribe because they like the content. Why? Because the content's America first. It's Trump's, like everything I spew is basically what Trump spews. I just put it and package it in a different way. But anyways, we would love for you to hit that join tab. We do have a website, baldbrad.com. Link to all our merchandise is in the, I don't even know what you call that below. There's like a ribbon thing below for all our stuff. But again, everything's on baldbrad.com. And if you didn't know, if you're new, we wrote a book here. I wrote a book called Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. Folks, you're seeing it in real time. But it's a phenomenal book. It's a great read. It's a quick read. You can get it on Amazon. We are in Barnes & Noble. We are in Walmart. Hell, you can get it anywhere and everywhere. We'd love your support, folks. Thank you so much for joining me here. And I'll see you tomorrow here on The Bald Brad Show.